Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others aspiring to be them can follow in their footsteps.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brinkman, and this afternoon we have with us Jeffrey Oster from the law firm Von Bayo. How are you, Jeff?
Doing all right. How are you doing, Jonathan?
You go by Jeff or Jeffrey?
You know what? I go by everything, including hey you. So whatever you're comfortable with, go with it.
Just don't call you late for dinner, right?
There we go.
There you go. Well, I have a brother, Jeffrey, by the way, and he goes by Jeff typically, so
that'll work.
Whatever.
Keep it
easy. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So good deal. Glad to have you. I know it's the afternoon here, but Latte with a Lawyer, we got to kick off with what's your morning beverage?
Depends on the day. More days than not, I actually happen to do English breakfast tea. It's light, has a good flavor, but it's not overbearing, and I won't crash to it later down the day. So that's generally my go-to. If I'm on the road and have a whole bunch of driving ahead of me, I might actually get a Starbucks latte of whatever seasonal choice they happen to have at that point in time. So
there you go. All right. So you're not a coffee addict like the rest of us.
Not regularly. No.
Okay, good. It's probably not a good habit anyway. It's funny. I grew up drinking tea, and then when I had like my first real job, there was coffee was easier. It was in a pot, and I started drinking it, and that got me hooked on drinking coffee.
Yeah, and I'm sure it got you hooked on some type of arrhythmia in your heart as well. I know some people where they have their first morning coffee, their second morning coffee, their afternoon coffee, their before bed coffee. It's never going to be me, but to each their own, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's probably not a great thing. I don't have it in the afternoon, but in those days when I was in an office, I mean, it was like nonstop drinking coffee.
I'm lucky where I never had that. Yeah, I sleep pretty well. Try to work out regularly, so I have a good amount of energy throughout the day. If I don't need to rely on caffeine, no point to do so.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. All right. So now pivoting to work, let's talk about your law practice and what kind of law you practice.
I do quite a bit of things. The primary things that I do are general liability litigation. That's if a company or an individual is being sued, I will go ahead and defend them. And that's everything from trucking litigation, slips and falls, sexual assault, anything under the mill where there's a need for someone to sue and someone to be defended in that lawsuit. I do certain commercial litigation, some real estate litigation. Don't really do much criminal unless it's something that is associated with a civil lawsuit, such as it's a fatality in one of the casualty events I'm handling. Some of the sexual assault cases obviously have a criminal element to them. But there is some plaintiff's work we will do on occasion if it's the right case. But generally what we do is civil defense litigation.
Okay, and you're on the defense side exclusively.
I mean, a good clear majority of it is me on the defense side, absolutely.
Okay, and the whole firm, what are the practices of the firm?
So we actually do quite a few things. We have everything from our general liability group. We have specific practices such as employment law. We have a municipal law division. We do a lot of gig economy work, and that's everything from you have your food delivery services to your personal transportation services. Workers' compensation is one of our largest practice groups.
Okay.
But we do quite a few things. And if it's something we haven't done before, we're always willing to take on a challenge.
Okay. And again, the firm mostly on the defense side, or you do plaintiff work too for the gig economy stuff?
Most of what we'll do is stuff on the defense side. There are certain things that we do for particular institutional clients where we have more of a general counsel type practice where we do a little bit of everything. Okay. But most of what we do is defense side, and we have offices throughout the East Coast. I think we have 4 offices in New York. We have 2 offices down in Florida, and almost everywhere in between.
Oh, you do? Okay. How big is the firm? How many lawyers?
Lawyer-wise, we recently acquired a group in New Jersey. I think now we're probably in the upper 40s.
Okay, so good size, and still planning to grow?
Still planning on growing. We're doing it strategically. We're a relatively new firm. We've only been around since June of 2020.
Oh, okay.
So we've had quite some success since then. But it's a powerhouse group of attorneys. Very proud to be a member of the partnership, and we're certainly going places and in the right direction.
Good. What was the genesis for starting the firm?
Well, it was a need through our managing partner Joe Vaughn, finding a let's be honest. I said June in 2020. We all know what happened in March to April of 2020.
Sure.
A lot of businesses were shutting down. A lot of clients, pretty much throughout the region, especially with defense work, we represented certain commercial entities. There was no income coming in. So our managing partner found a need to strike when the iron was hot. And he started recruiting groups of attorneys from various law firms, put together a powerhouse group, and was marketing throughout the pandemic, was growing throughout the pandemic, was getting good results throughout the pandemic. When a lot of people were batting down the hatches, weren't going anywhere, weren't doing much, we felt the need to go forward instead of staying stagnant. And that proved us well during the pandemic. And now that we're coming out of it, we've certainly been growing in terms of size, location, and revenue. It's been a fantastic ride so far.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well, you had to practice in states that allow you to practice right during those times. So you mentioned Florida; that was one of them.
Florida was one of them. Florida was a recent acquisition, so we're only recently down there.
Okay.
But we've essentially always been New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Delaware. We recently did Maryland. We have some West Virginia work as well. But some states are still, I'm not a fan of it, but a lot of states are still doing things virtually. I'd much rather do stuff in person. That being said, there is, of course, a financial benefit to having virtual appearances over live appearances when it comes to our legal bills, and we certainly want to be as efficient for our clients as we can. So it's a blessing and a curse. I'm just glad that we're able to do what we need to do again, to actually litigate. Cases aren't stayed. We're very active in our caseload, and I hope that things can open up a little bit more. I think that'll be good for everyone, and I definitely I think the future is going to be very bright for us as litigators.
Oh, good. I see in your biography, you're known for being an aggressive litigator.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, there's some attorneys out there where they get a case and they handle it vanilla, get another case, handle it vanilla, get another case, handle it vanilla. And it's just, let's churn them and burn them on to the next one. I like getting into my cases, and I like paying attention to detail. I like going after the other side and calling them out on their BS when it's appropriate to do so. I'm not a cookie cutter attorney. I am specifically hired by certain clients to be aggressive when the case calls for it. If the scent of BS is in the air, they want me to sniff it out, figure out where it's coming from, and go ahead and clean that up. I tend to take my time with depositions. I certainly have some discovery that is a little more detail oriented than others. And if the answers aren't appropriate under the circumstances, I don't mind reaching out to the court to make sure that the answers that are provided are the answers that are needed for that particular matter. Being aggressive, being detail oriented, and truly getting into a case does tend to get much better results for my clients, and they appreciate that, and that's why they keep coming back.
Got it. Where's that come from? What's your background? Like, where did you get that sort of approach?
I've always been there, and then I was curious as to why a lot of attorneys don't do the same thing.
Yeah.
There are so many attorneys where it's just, okay, let's send out form discovery. Okay, they answered. They don't really look at the answers. If they're only partially answered, they accept and say, well, we'll just clean that up during a deposition. No, I want to go into the deposition already knowing what the answer is, especially so I can go ahead and potentially use that answer against them. My reporting to clients is very detail oriented to make sure that my clients are on the same page as I am in terms of defense strategy. And communication is something that I understand is lacking with a lot of attorneys and their respective clients. I think that's truly important. One of the models that our firm has is we're always there for you. Our personal cell phone numbers are in our signature lines, and that's because we want to be accessible to our clients. So when it comes to client satisfaction, doing a good job, I try to do that with every client, every case. And that's why, again, there's certain clients that seek me out specifically to hopefully get a good result, especially in some of the harder cases where liability is either questionable or absolutely certain.
Yeah, give me an example of one of those tough cases where it was questionable and you prevailed?
Well, there've been quite a few, and prevailing is how you perceive it to be in a particular case. You know,
Okay,
prevailing
so
could
let's
be
leave
most
that out.
likely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
leave that part out then. Just give me an example of a tough case.
Let's see here. Let's say there's a slip and fall walking up to a supermarket. And someone claims that they slipped and fell on, you know, your average supermarket. They have the patio area and they have stuff that they sell outside. Um, you know, someone, I guess, stepped onto the patio area of the entranceway to the supermarket and claimed that they slipped and fell on like a plastic sign that says how much something has cost, whether it was, you know, umbrellas or something. And that's what made them fall. Um, you know, it was an interesting case because she had a picture of the thing that she fell on. She clearly fell. There was, you know, reports. She decided to break the fall with her face. Like it was a bad incident in terms of damages.
Hmm.
But through um, not just relying on witness statements and actually going to the scene and actually trying to visit the scene at the same time of day as the accident occurred, in locating video that you didn't even know captured the scene because you were at the scene looking around and said, hey, there's a camera. Let's see if we have any footage there. We're actually able to go ahead and determined without a doubt that this lady actually just tripped walking onto the curb and didn't fall on anything on the actual sidewalk. So, I mean, the demand was several $100,000. Again, she broke her fall with her face. There were fractures. You know, she had
Yeah, no
skull.
denying there were damages.
There really were. But when it came to showing the attorney what really happened that day, there was a very prompt change in tone, and he basically put his tail between his legs and said, "Can we just withdraw this, and you don't come after us for any type of fraud? We'll call it."
Oh, so there were no damages.
Well, there were damages. We just didn't pay out on them.
That's what I mean. You didn't have
Right.
to pay out on
We
the
didn't have to because they realized their client was completely full of crap. We had to show them the light of day, and you don't always get that opportunity to do so. But that's one where I would say it was a success.
Yeah, I would say so for sure. So that's interesting. Does that mean the plaintiff attorney did not have access to that same video, or they just didn't present that?
Well, they didn't have access to it, and they also had a different impression as to what it showed, even when they did show it. I literally had to break down frame by frame. Um, I cut little snippets with my computer, and I took, you know, Microsoft Paint, and I drew lines as to where the curb was, and, you know, the angle of the fall, and where the thing was that she claimed she slipped on. It took some effort,
Sure.
but it was well worth it, and it saved the client a tremendous amount of money, uh, both in defense costs as well as what they very well could have been having to pay out if we didn't take the aggressive approach that we did.
Interesting. Now, I mean, I know there's lots of technology out there where you can recreate the scene and show it. Do you ever use those kind of services?
We absolutely do. We use those primarily in the catastrophic injury and the death cases. We use those quite often in trucking litigation. I have a
Yep.
lot of talented experts, civil engineers, accident reconstructionists, and it's amazing this technology that they can use to not only create the accident scene itself, the approach to the accident scene, the use of drones to get footage above the accident scene, can really create amazing 3D technology
Oh
using
yeah.
CGI to have an event occur what appears to be in real time right in front of your eyes. With recent technology, even when it comes to preserving motor vehicles involved in bad accidents, there's even an app in the, I think it's the iPhone 13 Plus, has something where you can get amazing technology where you used to have to set up these giant lasers to scan from different angles, and you can literally take your iPhone and just put it along the vehicle and it just picks it right up immediately. Technology is amazing. It is expensive though.
Right.
So you pick and choose when you want to do that. But if there's a loss where you're anticipating litigation and there's really bad damages, deaths, multiple potential plaintiffs,
Sure.
it's worth the investment early so that hopefully you don't have to pay so much at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you have to make the case, right? So if you have to spend some money to get there, you have to make that decision. And, you know, it's worth it, right?
It usually is. And it really depends on the type of loss. Even if sometimes there's a potential for litigation, it's worth having that initial expense. I mean, it's usually anywhere between $4,000 and $6,000 initially. But when you're looking at a case where the damages are potentially going to be 7 or 8 figures, getting a foot up on your defense, hopefully before the injured individual or their estate has even hired an attorney,
Yeah.
it's always good to be ahead of the game and have good partners in your corner, such as a lot of the experts that we utilize on a regular basis.
Yeah, how do you make that decision? I mean, if you think you need, to run a mock trial or a focus group or something, and you think it's going to help you get to the, evidence that you need, how do you get that? I mean, do you have to get your client's approval to incur that
You,
expense?
you absolutely do. Mock trials are not cheap. And it depends on how you want to handle it. Sometimes you can do more than one mock trial with different juries. Sometimes you can do one mock trial with different juries in different rooms, all watching at the same time. Beyond that, mock trial, it's more than one attorney handling it. You usually have 2 or 3, maybe even 4 attorneys in your firm, depending on the amount of co-defendants, the amount of plaintiffs in the case. So in addition to just having my time, it's the time of my colleagues. It's the time of the vendor who is running the mock trial. We might need to bring in certain independent witnesses to give mock testimony. We might need to have experts testify to see how people read the experts or the expert's opinion. The expert time is expensive. Mock trials are tens of thousands of dollars. So you absolutely need your client's authority to do so. You need to give them a budget, and you need to be able to clearly tell them the potential benefits of doing it. So you don't do those in the smaller cases, but in some of the bigger cases, or if it's a smaller company where it's a bet the company type of case where the company's going to have to shut down, lay everyone off if it's a bad verdict. Those are the ones you might want to go ahead and spend a little bit more money to see if it's one where we truly should take it to trial, or if we should try a little harder to resolve it.
Got it. But you have to make that business case. What's that process like? I mean, how hard is it you believe I need this in order to put myself in the best position? How tough what's that process like to make that case to the client?
It depends. I have a lot of clients that are self-insured. So it depends if the damages are those where you have to reach out to insurance money, or if it's all dollar for dollar within the company.
Yeah.
It depends on the actual insurance company. There's a lot of reporting involved, a lot of roundtables, a lot of discussions, and it's not a conversation that's taken lightly. It's usually a conversation they have time over and over and over again prior to trial. It's one where some people don't believe it's necessary until they say, well, Jeff, if you think it is, we will defer to you. And then once we go through that process and they see what happened, the results that they get, I've never heard a client say this was a complete waste of time and money.
Yeah.
They all appreciate it when we make that recommendation, but it's not a recommendation that we have to recommend often. Again, that's usually the larger cases, but we do handle those. And when we do need to do a mock trial, I treat it just like a real trial. And it's interesting seeing jurors' reactions. Jurors are unpredictable in mock trials and in real trials. But in mock trial, at least you can gauge what they picked up on, what they didn't pick up on, what we should try to pinpoint a little bit more. If there's a certain factor that we should stick away from because they felt it was a bad fact or something that was determinative of something we didn't want it to be, we'll go ahead and do that. It's nice almost getting a preview of what you are hopeful a real jury is going to pick up on at the end of the day.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Good. Well, enough of that. But that's interesting. I'm just curious more about I know on the plaintiff side, it's easier to get funds to do those kind of things. If it seems to be tougher on the defense side.
It is. There's some plaintiffs firms out there where they literally have a mock courtroom in their actual office, and
Yes.
they do a mock trial for absolutely everything. But they're paid on a contingency basis. So sometimes they're going to do stuff because if they don't hit, they walk away with nothing. And in those big cases, they're investing lots of money in experts and possible, technology
Yes.
costs, and they want to make sure that they can recover. With the defense side, it's a little bit less common that we'd have to do a mock trial.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But again, it's not our firm's money; it's a client's money that's going to pay for it. So we want to make sure that when we do that, it's a wise decision when we make that recommendation.
Got it. So how'd you get on the defense side as opposed to the plaintiff side? How'd you make that decision?
Well, I kind of fell into it. I was in law school, and summertime's coming around, and some of my classmates said, "Hey, what clerkship do you have over the summer?" I was like, "I don't know. What's clerkship? Is that like a court thing?" Like, no, it's like, you get a job where it looks good on your resume, and then hopefully, they might make you an offer, or at least give you an experience to help you get a job down the road. So it's like, oh, that's interesting. So this was in the early 2000s, I think. I don't know. I probably looked at an actual physical newspaper to see who was hiring, or maybe it was an early career builder moment, one of those early classified ad things. And I saw that there was a law firm that was hiring, which wasn't too far from my house, and it happened to be a house counsel position for Liberty Mutual, where they handled all of Delaware's legal work, obviously from the defense side because they're an insurance company. And I had a classmate, and I was told him about that. He's like, "Oh, well, my dad works for their, Philadelphia office, wherever it was," and he was telling me about some things that he did, which I found interesting. So I went on the interview, got the position, and essentially been doing defense work ever since. So it wasn't that I was seeking it out. So I kind of fell into it, and I happen to like it.
Got it. And so, I see you went to Delaware. You went to Delaware for undergrad and grad school, law school.
Well, yes and no. I went to University of Delaware, go Blue Hens, for undergrad. And at the time that I went to law school, it was called Widener University School of Law. It has since changed its name to Delaware Law School. They also have a campus in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, called Commonwealth Law School. So it's a different university.
Okay. Where is it? Where's it located?
It's located in Wilmington, Delaware.
Oh, Wilmington. Okay, so outside of Philly.
Outside, it's like 30 minutes outside of the city. It's not far.
Yeah, right. And so you said you go into the city. Where do you live now?
I do live in northern Delaware. I live right off I-95, so it's a straight shot up the interstate to Philadelphia. And our office is in the Logan Square area of town. It's really nice. It's center city, but it's great places to eat around there. A lot of vibrancy to the city where we are, and really nice facility. So happy to be in that area.
Yeah. No, Philly's a good place. In fact, I just came back from there. My son's at Drexel University.
There you go.
So
yeah,
I've gotten to know Philadelphia pretty well.
Yeah, and I know Philadelphia attorneys have a certain connotation to them as being aggressive, but
I know the hockey fans are, and the football fans.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can't. We've thrown batteries and snowballs at Santa, so we'll see what happens with the Cowboys game tomorrow. But yeah, we're solid sports fans, and we were really hoping for a Phillies World Series win because we could actually see the parade from our office window. So with the Eagles at 13-1 currently, we're hoping they can continue to go down that route. If you're in town, Jonathan, feel free to stop by our office. We can watch it together.
Well, I'm a Bostonian, so I was a Patriots fan. Tom Brady moved to Tampa Bay. I live in South Florida now, so.
You live in South Florida?
Yeah, I live in Delray Beach, so I'm now a Buccaneers fan because Tom Brady's there. Although I think this might be his last year.
Well, we've heard that before, haven't we?
Well, based on, but every other year he's had great performance. This year he lost his wife and he's having a terrible year.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the greatest of all times. But right now, I think it's time for him to bow out and pay some attention to himself on a personal level.
Yeah, I think you might be right about that for sure.
I'll look you up if I'm ever in Delray, though. Always nice to have someone down there.
Yeah, this time of year is nice. It's even going to get a little chilly here, like in the low 40s in the morning with this big front that's moving through.
It's going down to 9 tonight with a wind chill, I believe, of -1. So I will take 40 degrees. If you could hear the wind whipping outside right now, 40 sounds quite nice.
Yeah. No, I'm spoiled. It's typically 80 degrees pretty much year round. So it's good stuff.
I have plenty of clients down in the Tampa, Sarasota, Bradenton area. Never mind going to visit them, hoping to do so in the next couple months. I wouldn't mind living down there year round. I'll put it that way.
Well, there you go. There's plenty of lawyers here. Trust me. Come on down. Have you ever thought about going on the plaintiff side?
I have some colleagues, I have some personal friends that do plaintiff's work, and they do very well. And I do understand that there is a need for plaintiffs' attorneys, very, very much a need. There are some which are complete innocent victims in cases in which they do need assistance in getting what they need to make a full, complete recovery, or to otherwise be able to live out their lives in a fruitful way.
Yeah.
I have considered it, but I'm doing well where I am right now, and I'm with a great law firm. And if it is a really good plaintiff's case, we will consider taking it on. But it is something that we, as a firm, consider deeply, because it's not necessarily the route that we tend to go. But doing plaintiff's work full time, I enjoy doing what I'm doing too much right now to really make that jump. And I have great clients, great colleagues, and I see no need to really seriously consider that at this point in my career.
Yeah. No, I don't want to put you on the spot. I'm just curious, like thinking, like even within your firm, like, because there's a difference, right? Being on I call it offense versus defense.
Sure.
It's just a different approach to the case.
It's a different approach. It's also different economics. We generally charge by the hour, whereas they generally only make a recovery if they win. If they don't win, they make nothing. So every case is a gamble. There are certain firms out there which you respect more than others when it comes to plaintiffs' firms. And I think it's a little bit different with defense firms. I think defense firms, you need to respect them. But I absolutely have some great friends that do plaintiffs' work, and I appreciate what they do, and they work their butts off. But they exist for a reason, as do I.
Got it. Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, I've asked a question off because I'm always curious, because if there's a certain personality type, or, I mean, maybe it was just luck because it was your first job, but I always try to figure out, like, why is someone on the plaintiff side versus defense side? And usually there's a reason for it. It just fits better with the person.
Sometimes it fits better. A lot of times I've noticed certain plaintiffs firms, there's a certain lineage that goes with it. It's, well, my dad was a plaintiff's attorney and I'm going to join his firm, or it was his firm. There's a lot of family firms that do plaintiff's work, so it's being part of the family, like any small business can be. There's some people like with me, they fell into it. A lot of plaintiffs firms are hiring pretty regularly. It's not an easy job, and there's a lot of recruiters out there that are always recruiting for plaintiffs firms. But this is talking about personal litigation work, and there's a lot of areas of law out there beyond just personal injury litigation.
Oh yeah.
But it's I respect most of them, and being that I'm more of an aggressive defense attorney, there's a certain collegial factor that grows through the lifestyle of a case, in which you can really figure out if your I guess your opponent is one to be respected or run over. I guess we'll put it that way. And the clear majority of litigators out there on plaintiff side are fantastic to work with, which is great. I really like the cases that I have. Most of the people that I go against are just really trying to do their best for their clients. Not all of them. Some of them are just going on a power trip, and I don't understand it because they're just making their lives smarter at the end of the day. But why do most people get into plaintiff's work? I think part of it is just luck of the draw, kind of like where I was. I don't think anyone wakes up one morning and says, you know what, I want to do plaintiff's work. But I don't know. I've never been in that position. I'm just speculating.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you decide to become a lawyer in the first place?
I never saw myself doing it. I was University of Delaware. I was political science major. I had a concentration in politics and journalism, and I think I was a few credits shy of having a minor in microeconomics. That being said, political science, I didn't really have made any political connections. Never really worked on any campaigns. So once I got my beautiful Bachelor of Arts degree, the only places that were calling me back were credit card companies. I was in Delaware, all the major banks, credit card companies are here, and they're like, hey, come make collection calls for us. We'll pay you a good amount of money. I was like, well, that doesn't sound ideal. And then there was, people like life insurance brokers saying, hey, join our brokerage and ask all your families and friends to buy life insurance and blah, blah, blah. Nothing really that was satisfying.
Right.
But I've always worked two or three jobs at a time. And I had a couple of jobs at that point, waiting tables. Pretty social guy, and a lot of my customers would always say, "So what are you doing after college?" And I'm like, "I don't know," or to be determined, things like that. And they say, "Well, have you ever considered law school? You seem pretty smart. You're pretty good at talking to people. You should give it a shot." And I hadn't. But then I started looking into it a little bit more, talked to some people that were in law school and a couple of lawyer friends that my family had. And I had nothing else going on. So I figured, heck, let's give it a shot. And Widener University at the time, it did have a night program available, which was relatively rare at that time. So I could still work throughout the day to help pay for law school while I was going. So that's how it worked out.
Good. So you're a hardworking guy. Is that what's your background?
What is my background? Well, it has nothing to do with the law. I'll put it that way. I come from a long line of psychologists. Dad was a psychologist, clinical psychologist. His dad was a psychologist. His dad was a psychologist. I got a C in psychology. So I was like, oh, well, doesn't look like I'm following suit. But I've always, my parents instilled with me just working hard, trying to get good results. Really stressed, busting my butt in school, and I did my best. I was on a roll throughout. Never necessarily top of the class, but I definitely tried. And as a father myself now, I'm trying to implement those same kind of values in my kids. It's not easy.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with hard work, and hard work tends to pay off in better results.
Yes, I agree. Totally agree with that. There's no easy path, really. I mean, you got to work for it.
You do have to work for it.
Yeah.
And there's something satisfying about doing so. Like, even when it comes to house projects, I painted that wall. It took me 4 hours, such a large wall, and taping everything up and sanding and spackling as needed. But at the end of the day, you busted your butt, and I can say I did that and appreciate it every time you look at it.
Yeah. Oh, good. You sound like me. I love doing those projects. It's rewarding, right? You feel a sense of accomplishment.
It is. I wish I had the means to just hire someone to do it. I'll be honest, I really do. But there is something satisfying about doing something yourself.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good stuff. So what would you tell somebody now who's thinking about becoming a lawyer? What would your advice be?
My main concern is the cost of law school, cost of higher education in general.
Yes.
I am very worried as to what it's going to cost when my kids are of college age. And I will tell them, why do you want to go to law school? What do you want to get out of it? Because you're not only making a time commitment, you are making a financial commitment. And most law school students don't have parents that can pay for law school. So unfortunately, they have to go into debt, and sometimes deep debt, as in 6 figures of debt, easily, sometimes multiples of 6 figures. So depending on what they say, I'll kind of gauge, well, what do you want to do with that law degree? Just saying you're a lawyer doesn't pay the bills. How do you want to monetize that and support your family down the road? So I've had conversations with certain people where they have certain interests in life, and I tell them, well, it's never too late to go to law school. Maybe you should pursue those other interests first to see if you still want to go to law school down the road. I went to law school with a few police officers where they put in their 20 years, they got out, and they went to law school then. And they're fantastic prosecutors and criminal defense attorneys right now. But they pursued what they wanted to pursue first and went to law school down the road. But it's really, you need to have a solid reason to go to law school nowadays. Just because having that debt hang over your head for the next decade is something that can impact your lifestyle in amazing ways. You'll see all your friends going on vacation and having multiple kids because they can afford it. Meanwhile, you're sitting here thinking, man, I hope I can get a new car in the next 8 years because I really need one. There's a lot of jobs out there, especially government jobs, where they don't pay too well. They're super important jobs. But it's almost like you need to have a spouse helping you pay the household bills to truly live a fruitful life. The law profession is one of the oldest professions in the world, and it's not going anywhere. And it's some of the smartest people that are part of this industry. Some of the hardest people that are in the world are in this industry. But if you truly want to become a lawyer and you think you can make a difference in the world in doing so, I say absolutely go for it. But I just hope that your eyes are open as to what it is that you're going to be incurring, because if you're just relying on law schools to tell you why you should go to law school, it's all a marketing ploy. look beyond what the law school's marketing team is telling you. And if you still think it's right for you, go for it, but go all in. You can't go in and half-ass and get bad grades because you're not going to get a job. And the last thing you want is not be able to get a job as a lawyer and still have your law school student loans to have to pay back.
That was a bad combination.
It is. And there a decade ago or so, there was some U.S. News and World Report litigation going on because there were certain rankings of law schools, and people were relying on those rankings, and then it turned out that those rankings were based off of marketing materials that weren't exactly accurate. And so when people couldn't get jobs, and they really said, well, the law school said I would do this, that, you really need to do some soul searching, talk to a lot of people, and see if it is a route that you want to go on. And again, it's not something that you need to do immediately after college. You can do other things to go to law school down the road. It's 3 years out of your life. And then, there's the tests, which they're not a good time, but you also need to essentially pass that bar exam. So it's dedication. It's a lot of misery, but I can tell you it's a lot of amazing experiences once you're an actual litigator down the road.
Good stuff. All right, well, good. Well, listen, just final thoughts about your firm, what you want to share with the audience, and the best way to connect with you.
I have a unique experience, I think, with my firm. I work with a firm where everyone just wants to see everyone do well. There's a lot of law firms out there where it's dog eat dog. Everyone is just competing against each other. And my firm is fantastic because we all truly want to see everyone do well, whether it's within our practice group, outside of our practice group, within our different offices. It's one of the facets that our founding partner really wanted to have in a law firm. It's something that really wasn't out there. And I have a much better atmosphere in terms of law firm life than a lot of my colleagues do. And I completely recognize and appreciate that. So I'm happy to say, as a lawyer, I'm pretty content with where I am professionally, and definitely hope to stay there. It's been a good ride so far in the past 2.5 years, and we're still going places. And I don't see that stopping anytime in the near future. So
good. Well, good. I like the enthusiasm. Keep it up.
Appreciate you having me on. And I've seen quite a few of these podcasts and keep them going. And I'll continue to watch.
Excellent. I appreciate that. Well, listen, for everybody, again, it's Jeffrey Oster with the law firm of Von Baio. And this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform that helps litigators like yourself with our platform that allows you to get mock jury insights, but with a digital platform that people use for prepare for trials and mediations. So thanks again. I will let you go. Enjoy the holiday weekend.
All right, Jonathan, you too. Take it easy.
Okay.